Welcome, everyone. It's your boy, JJ Facts Only Green, with a mid season edition of the Toke Zone Sports Network covering everything R2C. And I just wanted to point out we have breaking news, but we'll get to it. This is like part of a mind of how should we say this? This is a open forum for some of the coaches there to speak their mind and see how they feel of the status of the R2C right now as we're in it right now. And we're also going to probably finish off the show with the top tens. Really, it's going to be a short one. It's going to be top 10 offense, top 10 defense. And I'll tell you why later on. But I do have some guests that will be they'll be showing up shortly to join us and talking about the state of the league. But first off, there's been some controversy. Yeah. There is something that we're going to be calling Advance Gate. That's right. Advance Gate has happened. What is that? Well, the committee took it upon itself and made a clerical error, I guess you can say, and jumped ahead an advance week, causing a lot of commotion for some people, not so much for others. Again, as some people stated, if you won during this debacle, you're safe. If you had a bye week, you're safe. For the ones who lost, it is what it is. But we're definitely going to tune into that. Also, we're going to be talking about the recent dropping of the hammer on sanctions in the league. A lot of people got hit with a lot of sanctions, and we're going to talk in depth about that. We do have a coach that is here in the wings right now. Let's see if we can touch base with one of the coaches from the Florida State squad. Let me just see if I can pull him up here. Okay, let me see if I get him here. Yes, all right. Here he is.
What up?
Yak is in the building.
What up?
Let me get to the booth here. Let me just get in the booth here. 1 second here. There you go, folks. Coach Yak is in the building. Welcome, Coach Yak.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Wonderful. We might have other guests popping in or not, but we want to get the players' thoughts on what's going on in the season right now. As you know, again, this is a bit of an asterisk of a season due to, we called it, Advance Gate. What's your take on Advance Gate right now?
It's really unfortunate for the coaches that were affected negatively by it. I was a benefactor from it. I ended up beating Clemson on the road by like 50 points. So I can't complain personally, but I understand the gripes with it.
Understand. Now, with that being said, on the flip side, if you were on the losing end, what would your feelings be about what was going on?
I would be understandably frustrated. I mean, if you look at the ACC, they're arguably the best conference in RTC Elite. Every week matters. So you look at the top 4 or 5 teams, we're all battling. We're all a game apart from each other. So that sim loss would really hurt.
Okay, and what about, say, recruiting? I mean, you didn't really get to recruit, and I know there's a lot of tight battles now that everybody's in their bag with how they've built their coaches. I mean, one missed week could definitely change the aspect of your recruiting schedule. What do you say about that?
For teams that are still in the rebuilding process, for sure. Somebody established like myself that's already won a national championship, has already built their team up to a 99. It doesn't really affect me too much.
Okay. Now we're talking 99 here.
Mm.
So I'm going to be honest. 99 means nothing in this league, folks. I mean, let's be honest. There's some great players who don't have a 99 team. Now, again, you've built a great program, and others have too, most definitely. But again, the whole 99 club, it's kind of overrated, don't you believe?
I don't think so. That's kind of like your ticket into the big dance, right? Anything below a 99, you have to be a pretty damn good coach to, out scheme and outmaneuver some of these top tier coaches.
Fair enough. And we do have some new coaches here. We've got Coach Benny with us here, as well as the most popular man on the internet, I think, Coach Double D. Welcome, welcome, gentlemen, to the show.
Hello,
I welcome
hello.
you both. Both of these gentlemen both do great content on their own, right? So again, it's great to collaborate with them as well. So again, welcome. I'm going to again ask the same type of questions I asked Coach Yak. I'll start with you, Double D. In terms of the whole advance gate that happened with the double advance, I'm not sure if it helped you or hurt you, but what's your take on that situation?
So obviously it was unfortunate. I think it was for me. I mean, obviously I won, so it didn't affect me nearly as much as some of the other guys. Especially, I mean, just like Yak said, the SEC is almost the same way, where one loss is a big deal. I mean, that could be the difference between you making the playoffs or not making the playoffs because it's just that competitive. And so for me personally, I mean, I had a game against Stanford. It was a sim win for me, and it really didn't affect me very much. Now, but you had people like Cliff and Ole Miss who it did, and that's a big loss for him to take in a situation like that in the SEC. Same thing with Montague. I mean, he took a loss to Oklahoma, and that's a big game in the SEC for sure. And so that obviously really does affect the grand scheme of things because we just those user games just mean so much, especially in the SEC where those games are the deciding factor whether you're making the playoffs or not making the playoffs.
Wonderful. I do agree with you. Definitely. Now, what about your recruiting? Did it affect you in recruiting in any way?
For me, no. I mean, right now I am kind of killing it in recruiting. So I had a lot of guys that were set up to come. I want to say I did have recruits coming to the Stanford game. Now, obviously, if I would have lost again, it would have been a huge effect to that. Uh, but I mean, for me, my board is pretty much already set. I had a lot of already visits set. Now, if I was someone that was going to that week and I needed a visit that week, and you got a loss again, that's a huge that affects you in a big way. Uh, so for me personally, it didn't really affect me. I mean, the biggest week for me that never miss is that first week. That first week of being offer of the scholarships and be able to set your board. That's to me always the most important week. After that, missing a week, yeah, it hurts, but it's definitely not a killer. And like Yak said, I mean, my team's a 99. I've already got a good recruiting class already working with my team, and so we're pretty much already kind of set. Right now, it's just adding extra pieces there for whenever guys leave.
Okay, okay, and we'll drop down to Coach Benny here again. Well, we wanted to hear your thoughts on Advanced Gate. How did it affect? Well, I know how it
hmm
affected you, but tell the people how it
Yeah.
affected you.
Honestly, I had a bye week, so for me, it was fine. Really, it was just the recruiting part of it. That I saw like I lost a few recruits, but I don't think there were any like heavy hitter recruits that were like I was like really upset about. Um, so for me, bye week was fine. I felt more bad for everybody else that got affected. The user games that we missed out on, like a Tennessee versus Oklahoma, like or LSU, sorry,
Yeah.
or whoever LSU lost theirs, right? So
Yes.
I think that's where it was bad in the sense the recruiting was still early on in recruiting, so it might have hurt some guys. But in all honesty, I don't think it affected like recruiting too much. I think it's just those losses that really hurt people.
Okay. 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 Now here's a very very big question that I'm going to ask you guys. We're going to talk scheduling. All right. Scheduling is a big deal, I think, for the parity of the league. Now, again, we know we can't really control conference matchups, but, and I'm not going to try to pick on certain people, but Coach Double D has been kind of wiping the floor with people in his schedule. Now, he's that good. He's been that good. Now, the question is, can he have a tougher schedule in the first half of the season to make things kind of balance out? Again, whether he wins them or not, that's not me to judge or say. I just want him to have a tough schedule. What say you, Coach Double D?
Well, and I kind of agree with you to the point of I'm here to compete. I mean, that's what I'm here to do anyway, regardless. So my biggest thing is I definitely want guys to be able to go out there and compete and bring up. Now the other flip point of that is I play in the SEC. I have my schedule is going to be hard almost regardless of who I play. Especially we've been a little lighter on users just because we just haven't had a full SEC for a little while here. But now we've gotten another user in. It's full in Alabama. So we have an extra users that we're going to see on a regular basis. So in that case, I understand why some of the guys, for me personally, I don't mind. If anyone wants to play me, I'm down for it. Let's make it happen. And for me personally, this is after my first 2 seasons, I say, okay, I see the Big Ten doesn't get a lot of opportunities to play those interconference games. I want to get involved with that. I want to play some of the Big Ten guys. I haven't got a chance to play any of them. So that gave me the opportunity to play Benny, which I enjoyed that series that we get to play. And opens up the opportunity for me to say, okay, who have I not played some of those other conferences now? Like I haven't got to play Knight yet. So I asked, hey, next year I want to play Knight. I haven't got a chance to play Trill yet. I want to be able to opportunity to play those guys. I think those are the good opportunities to kind of step in and say, hey, I want to get some of these guys I just don't get an opportunity to play with playing so much in the SEC. Okay. Would it be good to have maybe 1 or 2 games of out of conference game against the quality opponents like that? Yeah, because for me it is. I really do need to be able to have I want to be able to go into conference and have the SEC schedule really be my determining factor whether I'm going to get into the playoffs or not.
Okay. Hey, great answers. I like the fact that he wants to compete. And he's showing everybody that, whether he's playing users or not, he's still going to come out on top. That's what I've seen anyways. But again, you're right. He wants to play and mix it up. Benny, how about yourself in terms of the schedule? Are you looking to have a more, mix of competition in your schedule, in the early schedule? We know we can't really change the conference schedules. Those are kind of set in stone. But I'm talking about the early stages. You're probably the first 4 weeks ago. What you say?
Yeah, so I've enjoyed like he said, like Double D said, playing like Tennessee. I've played Florida a few times now. I'm playing Woo early on, even though he was at Utah and I felt bad, but it's just cool getting out of conference games like that. There's obviously a bunch of dudes in here I haven't gotten to play. I haven't played Yak. I haven't played Earls of Virginia Tech. Like, those are games I wish I could add, but sometimes, again, they were trying to get 6 to 7 user games and trying to keep it even. So sometimes it can be hard to get those games, especially if the computer already sets you up with 6 users in your conference. So, of course, I wish you could have more of these like hard hitters like an SMU Missouri and a USC Missouri playing each other. So I like the competition outside, especially early on, because a lot of times those early games, if you lose, they really don't matter. They matter, but they don't it's not going to kill your season.
Right. Yep, I agree.
Okay. Let me. I see Coach BBC in the house there. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
Can you hear me?
Definitely. We can hear you. We can definitely hear you.
All right.
Wonderful to have you here. Now we're going to definitely get your take on it, but I'm going to ask Coach Yak here. Now, would you mind if you had a full schedule of user games the whole season? Would that bother you at any point?
As far as playing competition, no. As far as setting up the games and working around other things in like my personal life and other leagues that I have may become a little bit difficult, but I'm down to play anybody, anywhere, anytime, so it don't really bother me.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. That's what we're here for, right? I do believe, and I'm not going to just say because we're representing the RTC, but I do believe based on the competition that I've seen, the skill level that I've also seen, and the content, probably one of the best leagues out there, if not the best out there. So again, shout out to everybody who is in the R2C that is doing their thing, both on the field, off the field. Again, we have guys who definitely show their stuff on the contact level. They have to show their stuff in the game itself. So again, now that we have Coach PVC here, now Coach, I do believe you're part of the committee. Are you not? The commissioners committee?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I just joined a couple weeks ago.
Wonderful. Now, as you heard, we were talking about schedules. Do you have any real say in terms of how schedules are being built for the season?
No, not yet. I'm sure I will this next season, but not. I didn't have any of the last season, but I mean, I do know this. I don't know if this was covered, but there's only so much you can even do with schedules because you have your conference schedule, which the EA for some reason has set in stone, so you can't even change your conference opponents. The only thing you can do is you can set up 2 protected opponents. That's really the only avenue you can do in the game. Other than that, your conference opponents are set in stone. You can't even change if it's home and away.
Yeah,
so
well,
all you're really dealing with is your out of conference schedule.
Right.
Change home and
now,
away.
okay. Here's the scenario for you then. Say you have a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Well, we have Coach Double D here. He's one of the best in there. Say you have Coach Double D here, and you see his original schedule. Now,
yep,
it shows that it's a bit light. It's a bit on the weekend. And I'm not saying just CPU. Some of the players that he's going to be playing might be on the weaker side. Would you swap them out for competition to make it more balanced for him and the rest of the league?
Well, if I saw, like you're saying, like if his conference schedule, his 9 games that were preset, if they were weak, like let's say he only had 4 users.
Right.
Yes. What would probably happen, I'm sure in the future, is we would look and then we would fill up his 3 out of conference games with opponents.
Okay. That's good to hear because again, I'm just trying to see how the behind the scenes aspect looks when it comes to it because a lot of people will be complaining. And, you'll hear this person has such a light schedule and they're going in every year 12-0 or they're going in with no real issues and so forth. And that's why they're where they are.
Yeah.
And I can agree to a point. But I mean, I've seen the fact that you cannot change a lot. And that's an EA thing that they hope to fix maybe next year, to bring out the game. So that might
absolutely
change. So again, I know it's a tough thing, but I do believe if we have the space, I mean, I've seen a few teams that are playing guys that are, very, very low tier. I mean, I saw teams in the first 4 weeks playing schools like Appalachian State and South Alabama. And these are CPU teams that, I mean, they don't matter. Yes, you can have 1 or 2 easy games, but I mean, to fill up the first 4 with a bunch of nobodies, that kind of gives you a kind of a slingshot to the beginning, to the top of your conference. So
right,
morale is a big thing too. And your players are going to get better during each game because again, if your architect of your coach is built a certain way, that person will continue to excel because of a 3-game win streak or a 4-game win streak or so forth. So I mean, we're trying to balance out the competition here. So and now you jumped in a bit late, but we're going to ask you about the whole advanced gate. I know it was a miss up, and again, we're not trying to blame anybody or whatnot, but what do we do to compensate the league for an error like that?
That's a tough call because it's it's one of those things where it's like it affected the majority of the people were fine with it, but the few that it did affect was major. Like the perfect examples, I'm not trying to pick on one person, but James Madison, it probably hurt him, more than a lot. Because, like I don't know if this was covered, but I mean, when you're in a tough conference like the ACC, one conference loss changes a lot. And I'm not saying that Miami could not have beat him because in every game,
we're saying
somebody can, huh?
We're saying that.
But
I'm sorry.
But let's be real. I mean, he was going to win. So I mean that's a big deal. And it's like, I mean, there's never been an explanation exactly how it happened. And I have no idea because from what I've heard, it was done from a phone. And I don't know the process of doing it on a phone because I've never done it on my phone. So,
okay. Fair enough.
But okay. I will say this, there's only a few people that can actually advance. So it's not like every commissioner can advance. So I know a lot of people want to blame the whole commission committee, but like I can't. I have no power to. You know what I mean? I don't have it in my what do you call it?
Commissions,
Yeah, commissions to advance, so I know I cannot.
Okay.
But I mean, it sucked, and I guarantee you, it was not done on purpose.
Oh,
There was no trick because, according to the person who said that he's the one that was responsible, it hurt him just as well as it hurt JMU.
And again, we're not here trying to poke blame. It's already been done. Yes,
hmm
it might be sour, but again, it's the next day. We move on, right? So I get that.
It does, and it also hurt recruiting. I mean, I'll explain that. I mean, that's the other part it sucks in, especially on the smaller schools. On the larger schools, it's not going to hurt as much, because you might lose one 5-star recruit, but you have 4 more. But on the smaller schools, it really hurts. So that could have been a vital time if you had your visits and all that. So that could hurt a lot.
Definitely. Okay, let's move into sanctions. There was a lot of hammers being dropped on the sanctions, and I mean, a lot of people are annoyed by that. And I'm giving the chance for folks to kind of speak their mind. I know certain people here that were part of, I guess, the exposing of some of these sanctions, and they're kind of taking heat when they shouldn't be taking heat. Now, I'm going to ask the person who's on the committee team right there. What do you guys look for when you are scrubbing games and looking for sanctions? Are you looking for 1 or 2 or everything that it's on that rule list?
I'll speak first, but
Yep.
we look at everything. We sit down as a committee, we put the game on, we all watch the game together at the same time, and we just follow the game. And if something's blatant, like if it's something that you're watching and we're rewatching a game and you don't notice it when you're rewatching it, obviously it wasn't blatant. It wasn't something that really, caused an effect in the game. But sometimes you notice something and it's like that really affected the game right there. And that's when we're like, hey, wait, let's rewind that. And then we go back and we look at it, and that's when we go back and look at something like that, something that the committee as a whole feels blatant. And it's like in any democracy, we all vote on it and go from there.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go with Yak. What do you think about these sanctions? Are they too heavy? Not heavy enough? Your take on some of these things. I know you've seen a few sanctions in your time, so let me know.
We're not gonna talk about old stuff now. Like, we don't gotta bring up my sanctions,
Well,
but
it's never on the
but
table, but you know.
true. But I do feel if you have a bonnet on top of your head, you're gonna be scrutinized against.
Nope.
And I'm here to say that we need justice for people that wear bonnets. Point blank. Period. Point blank. Period.
Well, I mean, there's now I gotta go back into my books and I gotta research the mistreatment of the bonnet gang. I mean, I know a few people are in the bonnet gang, so you know what? I will look into that for you, and maybe we'll bring that back up to light for sure. All right.
Hey guys, I'm going to step off, but let me I'll give my really quick thing. So I think some of the sanctions are a little bit harsh. The biggest one for me, that's the biggest problem that just I don't mind the harsh penalties on it, is the 4th down rule, because it is very much. I mean, I think I mentioned this on my show. It's very much a strategy thing when it comes to playing a 4th down. It's like, hey, I'm gonna play defense to limit this guy to get to, if he gets to 4th down, he's either got a punt or he's got a fake. And when he blatantly just breaks the rule and he knows he's breaking it, that is a problem. Now, like the rollout rule and some of the pocket awareness, I get those. Hey, suspending a guy first time he gets suspended for half a game or a game, that's one thing. Taking away a bunch of scholarships, that's not good. But yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. Like some of the ones that you're just not blatantly breaking because you just might do it on accident. Like I said, the rollout rule is probably the biggest one to me. That's kind of kind of depending on what you're thinking about or what's going on there, right. Or just, habit sometimes. I know, like for me, for instance, whenever I'm kind of got my eyes to one side of the field and I'm snapping, I know I have a flood route to one side. I have a tendency to have my quarterback drift a little bit that way. So that could be a opportunity where it's thought of I'm automatically rolling out and taking off on quarterback. And it's just not the case. Mm-hmm. But if I get sanctioned, which I have before, okay, it is what it is. I'll move it on and just keep it from trying to do it again. But whenever guys the 4th down rule for me particularly is the biggest one and I don't mind the rules being because if you're breaking it, you are breaking it.
Okay.
So I got to step out, guys. Sorry.
Thank you for your time, Double D. Thank you for your time. Have a great night. That brings up a good discussion. I'll throw this to Benny. For people who blatantly break rules, knowing they'll get a sanction, but it still affects the outcome of the game. What's your take on that?
Lost audio.
Yeah, so I mean, when you know it's gonna affect the game, like, and you're gonna like if you go for it on fourth down, this obviously happened with Cody, and A&M early in the season against Michigan, I believe. That he went for it, or somebody did it, and they won the game, and that's gonna affect how like, especially early in the season, it might not matter as much, but if you're a repeat defender, especially a fourth down rule, and you know the punishment's already harsh, like there's only so many times you're gonna be able to do it, and we're not going to play the "oh, we didn't know" type of game, because we're now in the year 2031, and we've had people sanctioned for it. So you know that going forward on fourth down is not okay. And if you're questioning that, if you don't know the rule, then just don't go for it. Just punt it. Like if you're on their side at the 45-yard line and you don't have time to quickly just pull up the rules tab, just don't go for it. But I mean, if you're gonna do it blatantly, like you definitely know that you're at your 40-yard line, it's fourth and inches, and you QB sneak at a first down and you score on that drive. I mean, that's something we might have to consider in the future of because you can't just obviously go back and change a game and give this person a loss. That's not how this works. But yeah, I mean, you just gotta lay down. We have obviously made it as harsh as possible, so you rethink trying to just do it on purpose. But if you keep doing it, obviously, eventually you'll probably be, it's an elite league. You'll be out of the league. So
Yeah, I definitely hear you there, and for some reason, some people tend to say that one play does not dictate a game. That's I'm sitting on the fence with that because a play like that, if you backtrack, could have switched the whole game whatsoever. It could have been a penalty, could be a fourth down sanction, it could have been a kickoff return. We've seen it multiple times where a team has played so great and so good, and they lose on a bad throw and throwing interception. That's just one play. You might have played a great game, but that one play could dictate the game. So at the same time, with these sanctions or with these rule breaks and so forth, the blatant ones, I believe, and a lot of people in the chat are stating that there should be harsher punishment for people breaking these rules on purpose, knowing that they're going to get a sanction. Yak, what's your take on that?
No, I think so let's use the Missouri and Texas A&M playoff game for example. Um Texas A&M blatantly broke the rule to win that game. Um I think there should be like for playoffs, the punishment should be like multiplied by like two or three. So instead of cutting five recruits, you cut 15. And then you start to dig into the actual foundation of the team. Some people may think the sacrifice is worth, 15 recruits to advance in the playoffs, but I don't know. You do it one too many times, you might not have a program to really play with.
And that's the big question. And I think the punishment should fit the crime, and people who have been repeat offenders should be punished as such. So I definitely agree with your points there. If you are again with the playoffs as well, I mean, especially in the playoffs, if you're in there and you know there's a rule, you're in the playoffs for a reason. You're one of the best of the best, and you're breaking a rule in the playoffs, man, you should be just put under the jail. I'm sorry, just letting you know that's the facts right there. That's the facts. So again, I do believe that should be the case. Now, I had some breaking news that I found out that we no longer have a Michigan user. They have stepped down from his coaching spot. Now, I do believe it was pretty much avoiding the inevitable because I do believe due to past, this is why I bring up past because again, Yak, you've had some past sanctions. So there was a past sanction that he had, and now that he repeated that, in the rules stated he was going to have to step down. So obviously he has stepped down from that spot. Um, what's your take on now us losing the Michigan user going forward? We'll start with Benny actually.
no disrespect to Michigan, his user, I mean, he always plays really well. He had obviously internet issues, which caused a lot of heat for him early on this season. But like we talked about with the rule breaking, like when Indiana blatantly breaks the fourth down rule, you can't just quit the game. Like that, obviously, in and of itself is just like, especially let's say if Indiana was winning. I don't know exactly what the score was. I missed the whole beginning of the game, but whatever the break may be, do not just quit a game, and you're gonna get heat. And a lot of the heat he didn't like, and he thought was unnecessary. And then there was a lot of confusion if they were gonna replay the game. And then he eventually kind of just was like, "I'm just gonna step down." Now, this just opens up a spot for someone to jump in the Big Ten. Obviously, Michigan's not gonna be able to be taken right away.
Mhm.
Um, but that doesn't mean that someone can't take Michigan as a newcomer. So I believe that's how that works. Someone can come in and kind of take Michigan. That whole thing still confuses me which team's gonna be taken there. For me, Michigan was on my schedule as a coach. So Michigan is my next game up. And I was talking a lot of crap that he couldn't beat me. So now we'll never know unless he rejoins eventually. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
Definitely unfortunate. Definitely unfortunate. Yeah, what about your take on the whole Michigan fiasco?
It's always unfortunate to lose quality users in the league. We've seen it multiple times in the past. I like Cass, so I'm not going to speak negatively on him or anything like that. I will say though, the optics surrounding the timing of him leaving aren't the greatest though. Um, but yeah, like Michigan's gonna be open for what 3 years now, and that definitely drops the Big Ten to uh,
Now, I would not take any
two
Big Ten
A.
slander here.
Hmm.
Big
We will
10,
not
2A,
take any
2B with
Big
the
Ten.
Big 12. Now it's ACC,
No,
ACC
whoa.
all the way.
Wow.
Well, we actually get teams in the playoffs.
We do too. We had what 3 last year?
Okay,
Well,
I'm talking about the Big
4
12. I'm talking about the
if you
Big
include
12.
JMU. Okay, well there you
Well,
go.
I
Okay,
mean,
so
I'm talking
y'all
about
are
the Big
3.
12,
I
not the
mean,
ACC. Not
if
the
people
Y'all
are
are
ACC.
watching
3.
in the Big 12, you can always step up and state your case. But you know what? Yes, the conferences that have the competition are the SEC, the ACC, and most definitely the hardest of them all, the Big Ten. Again, based on the competition that I've seen in games, the, the Big Ten has the most, again, even keel in terms of play style and competition. I mean, you're going to
Mm-hmm.
have great teams in the SEC. We're not holding that
Mm-hmm.
from them, but again, there's a bit of a gap of skill level, whereas everybody
And
in the Big Ten is quite close.
and I mean that shows when it comes to the playoffs, and the last 3 champions come from the Big Ten.
Ain't that the
Mm-hmm.
truth, Ruth? He is
Mm-hmm.
spitting facts. We should have Benny on the show
Mm-hmm.
more often because he's
Mm-hmm.
spitting facts. All right, guys, you guys sit tight for a bit. I think we're gonna change gears. Well, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna talk about some top 10 stuff because again, there's some controversy because again, some people's schedules are lighter than others, and others are kind of just walking in the park when it comes to playing some of these teams because it's just too easy for them. Now, what's your take on inflated stats when it comes to these rankings? Because again, you have to understand that the way you play helps the recruits come to your program. So if you're blowing out everybody, then those high performance players, the 5 star, the 4 stars, all those elite receivers, running backs, and quarterbacks are going to be come to your program. This is why I stated about the schedule should be a bit harder because again, teams that are going to be throwing up 34 touchdowns in the first 3 games, those quarterbacks are going to go to that school in 3 weeks. I'm signed. I'm good. What's your take on the stats here, folks? Start with you, Yak.
There's a particular person in the league that's taking very good advantage of that. I'm not going to call out any names,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure they play like Western Kentucky earlier in the year or something like that.
Mm,
And
okay.
I've lost a 4-star generational quarterback to him
Mm,
week 3. So yeah, like there has to be some better, I guess, balancing of the schedules. Even if you're not playing a user, play a tougher CPU, but you shouldn't be playing lower tier G5 or G6 tiered opponents.
I think I totally agree with you. What say you there, Benny?
Yeah, I mean, so obviously your schedule is what it is, so I can't blame anybody for taking advantage of like obviously Double D is a big one. I'm going to say him because his 3 early games were just 70-0, and well, we can't get mad at him. He's just going to take advantage. That's part of the game is that Tennessee should beat those teams by 70, especially a 99 overall Tennessee. So I think if you add a little bit of a little mixture there in the scheduling, it might make it tougher. I have seen people already talking about the CPU sliders, but that can be really, really interesting because then people are going to complain about the CPU sliders being terrible, and we're just going to start that whole nonsense of a thing. So it's a really tough spot because you can't blame the user for taking advantage of those things. But again, when you're trying to make it realistic, I mean, I'm gonna shout out Penn State and in real life, and we look at the teams they're playing in non-conference, and it's a joke. We're playing like a MAC school every season. We just played FIU and Villanova last year. We have Temple in the schedule. Like these are just schools that Penn State's gonna beat by a lot. So it's just like it is realistic because you won't see an Alabama versus like Ohio State every single year, and you'll have 1 or 2 of those games, but it's hard, especially when the users in the conference are already set up. Like you could still have Tennessee play, let's say, like a Michigan now that they don't have a user, and Alabama or Tennessee might still beat that team by 70 points. Like it's tough. It's tough.
I totally agree with what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. I mean, um, when it comes to sliders or adjusting sliders, that is a very touch and go segment because again, a lot of people think that it will definitely change the whole aspect of the game, and it does sometimes. If you don't have the right sliders, it definitely changes how your players play. So I mean, we've played it up to this point with these sliders. Changing it now might rub people the wrong way. Fair enough. Um, however, you know, like you just stated, some of these easier teams should kind of be on the wayside because we have non we'll say CPU teams that can definitely give you a better challenge, like the now vacant Michigan team, right? There's a Texas that's in there that can play you. I think Georgia has no users. So again, those are teams that you can definitely put in someone's schedule to give them a challenge at least, to give them some work. They shouldn't be playing guys like Kent or UNLV or Arkin. Those teams should not be touching any of the SEC, any of the users conferences that are really heavily favored with users. They should not be playing them at all. That's just my take on things. So here's my question: when it comes to a list such as offense, defense, even pound for pound, do you think the strength of schedule should be factored in on any of these lists that go on, or even Double D's top 8? What do you say about that, there, Benny?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I have a top 10 list that comes out whenever I do my show, which should be happening soon.
Mhm.
And all it's interesting because all our lists are different now. Obviously, Double D and he'll put his into an AI, and I believe that's what you kind of do as well, is throw everything in the chat GPT, all of the stats, and it's obviously going to lean heavy on stats, where I think I factor in the teams that people have played. Like last season, A&M wasn't on my list, and it was because they didn't play anybody. Even when they played users, they didn't play anybody, and then they lost to the one person they did play. So everybody's top 10 list is gonna be different. Obviously, if you load your stats up, you're gonna be in the top 10 list. But like a team like probably like me, for example, I don't load my stats up very well, and I sit a lot of my starters whenever I start winning. So it's gonna the top 10 list. I know yours is really hated on, but again, you're not the one that makes it. It's really just ChatGPT making it, and so I don't see why people get angry. Mine, they should get angry about because I'm actually telling you you're not good at the game. Like straight up, if you're not on my top 10 list, I don't think you're beating anybody.
Hey, you know what? He's spitting facts right now. That's why he's on the show. He's telling you the facts right now. He's telling you like it is. Coach Yak, what about you? What say you about that?
I love the variety of all the different rankings from everybody. I would say that sometimes people take this a little too seriously. If somebody calls you trash, just get better. Like, I personally don't believe there's 10 users in this league that can consistently beat me year after year, you know? So but I play in a league that's 24 hours and it's a cheese league, right? But that's how you get better. You find the cheese, you beat the cheese, right? And then when you come to a simulation style league like R2C Elite, you know what to look for. So when people try to pull a rabbit out the hat or whatever, you're well equipped to handle that. So
Mm, well said. Well said. I definitely be now. Speaking of cheese, now that's one thing that has been floating around a lot on how people's gameplay are kind of manufacturing these unbelievable stat lines and even gameplay. Um, we'll start with you, Yak. You know, on a percentage, how many people do you think is really using YouTube and cheesy plays in the RDC Elite Dynasty? Without naming names, again, we don't want to expose anybody.
I would probably say about 95% of people have looked at YouTube for either recruiting, either gameplay tips, how to stop the run, how to stop the rocket passes, whatever the case may be. There's come to a point where you looked at YouTube, Reddit, whatever the case may be, you've looked at it, right? And if you say less, it's complete BS. And I don't believe you.
Mm, Coach
He
Benny, what
doesn't
about
believe
you?
me then. He doesn't
Mm,
believe me then because I don't do any of that, which is
okay.
weird. But like recruiting is a big one where people are like, "How are you recruiting so well?" I'm like, I literally just don't know. Like I don't waste my time on YouTube because my YouTube is a bunch of nerdy watching people like Markiplier, and half the people in this league don't even know who Markiplier probably is. And it's funny because one of the younger people in the league, and I'm just like, no, I'm not looking up anything. Like I just like I'll play, and if I lose, I lose. But yeah, you can definitely tell when someone's cheesing, and a lot of times it can be easy to stop because for every cheese play, there's somebody talking about how to stop that cheese play.
Mm,
Um, and it's hard for people not to just obviously we can't just go in streams and talk because that's a sanction. You can't just be like, hey, this is how you stop this play. You got to learn it on your own. And a lot of times it's just trial and error. Like RPO is a massive one. I wouldn't say the cheese play, but 90% of the people in this league run RPO every single play. And I always laugh when I see people not be able to stop it because I wouldn't say it's easy to stop, but there's definitely certain plays where they come out and they run the RPO. And Gator can attest to this when I first played him and he ran the RPO. And I think I had like a pick six and almost like return everything. Or Utah ran it and I eventually threw an interception. So I there's ways to stop these guys. And we can call them out, but if you're gonna run the same plays over again, you're not gonna be a national champion here.
okay. Speaking now, this brings up a good point about play calling and people's playbooks. It's been known that a lot of people claim that they've created a playbook. Fine. What I've seen in a lot of games is that a lot of people will live in the favorites of their playbooks. Do you think that's right? Or do you think there should be a restriction on just using, you should have a certain restriction of how many plays should be in your favorites? If you made a playbook, you should be using your playbook. We'll start with you, Yak.
No, this should not be a restriction because me, I have over probably like 40 plays in my favorites. That's a third of the playbook or a fourth of the playbook. So it's like I'm either going to coaching suggestions, I'm going to favorites, or if I know I need to, like, let's say run the ball, I'm gonna go and find it by formation and find what I want to run. I think it's just a bailout to say that people using favorites is, cheese or whatever you want to say it is.
Okay, okay, Benny, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with Yak here. I see people live off their favorites, but again, if you only have like 10 plays in your favorites, you're not gonna win games. You're gonna keep running the same play, and eventually you're in an elite league where defenses are gonna figure out what you're doing. So I think if you live in your favorites, you probably have like 40 plus plays in there, and you know what you're doing. So I agree with Yak here.
Okay, okay. Now there was a suggestion to help challenge this issue of play calling and even just basic overuse of plays, and that's putting a play cooldown on some of these. It seems to be a great idea um, to kind of help people be more creative with their play calling. Do you think that will help or harm the league at this point? Now we'll start with you, Benny.
So it all depends on what kind of cooldown you do. I know I was in a league for 25 that they had one on defense, and I thought that was really dumb because there's only so many defenses you can put on the field, and they had it set to where like you could only run a play 3 times in like a quarter, I feel like, and it was like terrible because I could like I had to stop using man coverage, and there's only so many blitzes I had that I could use. So defense, I think you need to avoid it. Offense, again, if you're running 40 different plays in your favorites, that's a lot of plays. And if you're cool down, I just don't think you need it. I think it would harm the league. I think you would have a lot more people complaining because if you can't stop the same play over and over again, then clearly you're not meant to be in the league.
Okay, now before we go to Yak, there are plays. Sorry, folks. There are plays that are considered broken, and they just have unrealistic results. Now, do you think this is true, or is that just a myth there, Yak? And talk about the cooldowns as well.
Hmm. Um, Cooldowns aren't needed with as many rules and sanctions we have in the league already. The league can become sort of like a chore, right? Or sort of like a job. And I think a lot of us do this for like leisure. Of course, we want to compete to be the best, but when you try and micromanage everybody's, you know, way they play the game, it becomes too much. As far as like broken plays or plays that have like high hit rates, uh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that one. I would say things like bumping your receiver off the route or taking advantage of different mechanics of the game. Those should be heavily scrutinized, right? But not necessarily like scrutinizing plays per se.
Okay, okay, okay. Well, again, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. We're just gonna get into the top 10 list as we speak right now. So if you guys want to sit tight and you want to kind of talk about this, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to show the list of the first one. The first list we'll talk about is the offensive list. And again, the offense is frankly it's crazy in the RTC. Offense is just over the top. So we have a generated list here, and if you guys can see that, um, the number 10 team is Colorado, 40 points a game, as a 458 yards per game average. Right after that is Penn State. Penn State usually is not known for their offense, but they this year, I believe they're undefeated, also beating the national chance of last year in Oregon. All right. Right after that, we got Texas A&M. Now again, there is a question of how they play, but again, that we're not scrutinizing that. We're just seeing how much they put out in offense. Tulane is also on this list with a 48 points per game, having 25 passing TDs. After that, we have NC State with 51 points per game. Arizona State, again, new coach there. Mr. Crazy Flow is there running Arizona State. And then rounding out the top four there is Virginia Tech, Florida State, LSU, and Tennessee. Now, this is all stat based. Now, we'll go back to you guys here and ask you, let's ask you guys. Give me a sec here. Sorry. Let's ask you guys what do you think about that list right now? We'll start with you, Benny.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like again, it just depends on who you've played this so far. Offense is like I knew Tennessee was going to be number one before we even talked. They showed the list. Tennessee was obviously going to be the number one team on here. So the list isn't shocking, especially when you look at the people that people have played. Um, so to me, it's a pretty good list. I mean, it's the numbers game. So if you put up good numbers, you're on the list.
Okay. Now, granted, Tennessee has been the top offensive team probably for the last 3 seasons, whether he's playing users or not. So I think he has deserved that. I mean, if you saw the rest of the list, it has changed from time to time with certain people. We've had Oklahoma up there sometimes, Old Miss so up there. Oregon was up there at one point. So again, it does change. Florida State has been up there as well. Let's see. Let's talk to you there, Coach Jack. What do you think about that top 10 list?
Um, I was a little confused by the graphic. I was trying to figure out like how they were actually ranked, whether it's points per game, yards per game,
Now,
or like a
based
mixture.
on the information, is just total stats. So when you talk about uh, uh, calculating total offense, you're talking about rushing, you're talking about passing, you're talking about turnovers, lack of them. You're talking about all things that deals with scoring. That's it. So you could have a great passing offense and a horrible run defense, but you're still scoring points, right? Kicking games also involved. So there's a whole bunch of aspects that tailor into a list like that. So again, we didn't want to go into the pound for pound because again, there's a few questionable things that we are seeing from the advance and whatnot. So we're going to probably skip that this mid season. But based on the actual offense that people are putting out there, we're using the team stats from that category, putting into the machine and letting it tell us who they think is the best. And it shows again, Tennessee up there is number one, right? So, and again, you're up there too. So it's not like it's not like LSU. Again, LSU has been having a good run themselves, as well as you, Florida State. So as I think, to me, I think the list is legit based on what I'm seeing right now. I could be wrong, but you tell me. Do you think that the list is correct?
No, I wasn't arguing the validity of it. I was just trying to figure out how they were ranked, right? Because you look at it like I don't, I don't see myself as a top five offense in the league right now. But the stats say otherwise, right? But yeah, I was just confused on how the rankings were actually selected, and not
Okay.
I wasn't arguing it or anything. Just
Okay. Well, yeah. If you put up good numbers, you'll be on that list, plain and simple. And for the next list coming up for the defense, if you stop the run, you stop the pass, you stop the scoring, you'll be on that list. And let's get to that list right now. Let's bring up that list real quick. So, seeing that was the offense. Here's the defense. Number 10, Virginia Tech. Number 9, Oklahoma. Number 8, Missouri. Number 7, LSU. Number 6, Florida State. Number 5, Tennessee. Number 4, Iowa. Number 3, Texas A&M. Number 2, Colorado. And number 1 is Penn State. So again, we didn't get it wrong. These are just stats. So again, Penn State, number 1 defense in the league. Do you agree with that?
Right now, yeah, actually, I really like my defense. I mean, up to Oregon, I only give up 14 points per game, and then Oregon only scored 21. Um, so I felt really good with my defense. A lot of pass rushers, a lot of stopping the run, whether that be the computer or the users are having a hard time. Usually I'm struggling. I'll tell you this from straightforward. I sucked against the pass game a lot, but this year it felt different. And that Oregon game really put me in a step stool, and I needed to lower my head a little bit. I needed to deflate a little bit because I felt really good after that game. Talking like I can win the Big Ten, which I still believe I could win the Big Ten. But yeah, I kind of knew I'd be up there, especially with how many points I've given up and like barely any.
Okay. And what about you, Coach Jack? Defense, is that your thing, or is you more of an offensive minded person? Because you are on that list as well, do you believe? Right? Yeah.
yeah, I was ranked number 6.
Yeah.
The stats are what they are. Like here at the Florida State University, we don't look for participation trophies. We try to win a conference every year. If we're not in the conference championship, then what are we really doing? So
I mean, I definitely hear you. Now, here's a question. There's some teams that are on there that might not have positive records when it comes to being on this list, whether offense or defense. do you think that them being on a top defense or top offense lift is justified, even though they're not winning their games? We'll start with you, Yak.
Just like I said, participation trophies. You're mid-season and you're happy about a top 10 ranking on either side of the thing, but you've lost a game or two. You may need to reevaluate your priorities. My fate could change here. I have the thick of the ACC schedule coming up, but hey, if I can escape 500 from that, then playoffs, here we come, baby.
Okay, okay. And what about you, Benny? Does the record matter
Yeah,
with you being on that list?
I think it depends on the coach. So like if you have a really good defense, but your offense is not great, then I think you just need to start looking at your offense. Like I think if you're a 2-4 team right now and you have the number 5 or 4 defense, like clearly something is not going right in the program and you're gonna have to fix it. So a lot of times you can't even blame the defense. You might give up 14 points and your offense might only score 7. Like that's not on the defense all the time. So same thing with the offense. I mean, if you're scoring 60, but you give up 61 again. So I think it's just the coach, how they play. If they're really good defense, they need to focus on offense, all that good stuff.
Okay, okay. I like these answers, folks. I like these answers definitely. So now we'll talk we'll talk playoffs. Just a quick bit about the playoffs. Give me your top 5 who you think will be making the playoffs. Top 5. And you can definitely include yourself in that. So again, think about that. Top 5 right now mid-season are going into the playoffs. Benny, you can start.
All right. So when we say top 5, are we talking about like the top 5 teams at the end of the year, or are we just
Yeah,
saying people
yeah.
that we know? Okay.
No, top
Okay.
5 teams in the end of the year.
All right. So I have to say Tennessee. I love Double D knows how to handle the SEC. He always plays really well. Missouri is his competition this year, I believe, in the SEC, as it usually is.
Mhm.
But right now I have Tennessee. I think he's going to get past Missouri this year. Maybe. We'll see. But that Tennessee. I think in the ACC, you have to put Florida State up there. It's either Florida State or SMU this year. I love NC State. I love Fern, but I don't think he has a squad to take down anybody there. So I think Florida State is another one you slide in there. I'm gonna put. I hate to say it right now because I don't want to, but USC goes in and then I go in as well. I feel like the two powerhouses right now in the Big Ten are us two. So you have those two. And then the fifth one is going to be, I think Tulane wins the Big 12 easily. So I think Tulane's going to get a top 5 spot as well.
Okay, okay. Yak, what about yourself? Top 5 teams you think that are guaranteed going to be in that playoff spot come into the year?
Oof. Tough. I'm not gonna go with conference championships. I'm just gonna go with who I think are 5 people that are guaranteed to make it. I think Tennessee, Penn State, SMU. I want to say Oregon, and I'm gonna go a little bit outside the box, a little bit left field. We're gonna go Arizona State. He coming out the Big 12.
Okay.
That's what we're gonna do.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. I like it. For me, again, it would be Tennessee, USC, Penn State, Florida State, and I'm going to say Oregon for the top 5 there. Again, the competition with the SEC and the Big Ten is just crazy. So I think those guys will dominate the playoffs. Again, we'll see come later in the season, see how it goes. We still have a lot of football to play. So again, good luck to everybody else and the rest of the season. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. We are definitely going to call it a show. And again, tune in till I guess whenever we get another exciting event to talk about, we'll definitely jump on and talk about this. This was fun. I like bringing these coaches on, talking all this stuff. You guys have a great one. We'll talk to you guys soon. Peace and love, folks. We
Appreciate
out
it.
of here.
Pretty sure you too.